a couple internet sites.
I don't know, internet sites, you'll have to tell me. What that is.
1854.
All right.
That's okay.
Okay, Observer and a couple internet sites. That's a motion. Motion's been made, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Brian, any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye,
Aye.
Do we gotta take public comment? Oh, no, it's just
Oh.
a motion to advertise.
yeah,
No, we're taking action.
Any action on it.
Yeah, we gotta take
okay,
public comment.
sorry. Any public comments on that? I screwed up. Yes,
Debbie Haynes. I would just urge that since my husband and I have been attending virtually every township meeting the past 8 years, seeing the difference in the legal counsel that we have now compared to what we had before when we had a generalist person, and township residents were pretty much left to hire their own private counsel, in some cases representing the township. If you need heart surgery, you don't look for the cheapest generalist doctor,
you're right.
and I think there's a lot of comparison here to that.
I thought you were going to impugn my roping skills.
I didn't know
I
to
was
share
nervous. I was very nervous.
Any other public
Okay.
comment?
I do.
Yes.
I feel strongly that $400 or $500 extra to go out to the Pittsburgh area to try to attract people that have more experience for what you want is going to be better than just going with the Observer Reporter. And we spent $2,000 on an Easter egg hunt last week. So I think we can spend $400 or $500 on some advertisement. And I feel very, very strong that we need to get out of this general area. The people in this general area that read the Observer are not going to see what we need. We need to be in the Trib, we need to be in the Pittsburgh Press. It's $400 or $500, suck it up somewhere else and start advertising. We know what we want, we know what we need, and we need to spend the money. So I think that you should take another vote.
I think at this point, I'm okay with the Observer and the internet sites, because the other attorneys are gonna pick them up off those sites anyway. Most of them look at them.
I think if the sites are good sites and folks go to them, we'll catch the attorneys that we want to.
There's nothing wrong with targeting firms that do municipal work.
Right.
And, I mean, I'm not from anywhere around here, and I work in places where I'm not from anywhere around here. So I don't disagree with what Jane is saying. So if you don't want to spend the money, it wouldn't hurt to target firms that have that wherewithal. Chuck Means' firm's being one of them, by the way.
Yes.
He's a number of good attorneys there. But I mean, I can help Mary Ann do that. I mean, I see the same, I know who does it and who doesn't.
I think the way the motion is, I forget where it's at, we take a vote? Yes.
We did, but we should take another one
Since we had public comment.
since we had public comment, yes.
All right, motion's been made and second, no further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Anything else?
No, I didn't have anything.
I didn't have anything.
Okay. Public comment? Don Reed.
Don Reed, 25 Main Street. A couple of years ago, we entered into an agreement to give certain roads back to PennDOT.
That was,
Was there a reason why we did that?
are you talking about just a winter maintenance, or are you
Winter
talking?
maintenance, well, take
Is it-
care of the roads.
Last,
Everybody's got to do something with Fort Cherry Road.
last fall, we gave the winter maintenance back on certain roads. It was before my time that they gave the roads totally back to PennDOT. I have no idea.
I just wondered why they did, didn't they pay us enough for fuel allotment? Or
Like
what?
Fort Cherry Road, was that always a state road?
It's always a
I think Fort Cherry Road's always been a state road. The township at one time
It would never.
We plowed it.
did winter maintenance on it,
Yeah,
but I don't think they've
I
ever.
think as far as,
Potholes on the other side of the
That's the
road.
only thing that changed was the winter maintenance.
that's what,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We had potholes there in front of Donnie Ville's house, it was pretty bad. He called them up, they did show up the next day. They missed the one in front of Kramer's, which is a next door neighbor. I went and hunted them down, I said, hey, you passed all those ones real nice, why didn't you get the other one? Oh, we missed a lot of them. Now, is that a good excuse? Now, right now, in the middle of Hickory, you not only have a pothole, you have blacktop sticking up in the air like this.
I almost got hit. Somebody swerved to miss that blacktop right in front of Bell's house. Yeah, they swerved to miss it and almost hit me.
Paint it yellow and slow everyone down.
We have a meeting with PennDOT
next week.
Next
next
Thursday.
week, and then
It's Thursday.
Yeah.
is Bill going tomorrow? Do you know? Or are you going, is anybody going tomorrow to the,
Well, Bill's scheduled to go, but he's sick, so I'm not sure.
okay. Maybe if he can't go, I'll go.
But it's RSVP for something.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
We have a meeting April 1st, and I believe all of us are attending with PennDOT. So.
that pothole that I was referring to is still there, and it's still about this.
And the ones down past the golf course,
Yeah.
like a washboard,
Sure is.
they're really bad.
School kids travel that road every day. and
I know.
not
Can
good.
I add on to that discussion, because we had a child that went to VOTEC this year, and it was bad snow conditions on that road. I know the superintendent has called numerous times to PennDOT and was about to run around, and that child had an accident on his way to VOTEC.
During the winter,
During the winter at like noon. So, I mean, there was plenty of time to get to that road.
we had
Driving
many
there.
problems with PennDOT on a lot of the roads they were supposed to do this winter. And Mary Ann called, the police called.
The school district called,
But,
He's the only
okay,
one that got
so
accident.
if the township chooses to give roads back to PennDOT, like we didn't give Fort Cherry, or Cherry Valley Road back. That's a state road, but our township still maintains that. If you were gonna pick a road to keep, it's the school road.
and
You skip the other ones and you keep that road, every bus and every child has to go on that road.
That's
Except
I don't
something we
disagree.
need to think about this winter, on a lot of the roads that we gave back.
But
We're
they're gonna
gonna,
have to keep the road safe, right? So that we do winter maintenance
Yeah.
on it. That's the issue.
is that what,
That's the issue, is, yeah, they don't take care of the roads. They've got big divots and potholes and.
is that why we gave up Fort Cherry, or
I don't-
Fort Cherry originally?
haven't-
I have no idea.
Since I've been here, we haven't done Fort Cherry. So
Okay, yeah,
it has to have been a long
That's
time
always
ago
been a
if we
state
did.
road.
What was
It's
it,
always been a state
Carroll Road?
road, but we never took it.
the last one was McCarroll, Wabash,
And, South,
Southview. And that was just for winter maintenance.
Public free for all.
It's very hard to take.
I know.
It's supposed to be quiet.
I've lost track of who's.
We're gonna talk to PennDOT.
I appreciate it.
Okay. John Burshock.
John Burchard, 273 Fort Cherry Road. Do we have a copy of the new ordinances yet?
Which ordinances?
The ones that we were working with that?
Oil and gas?
Yeah.
No, it's not an ordinance, it's not, well, it's not an ordinance yet.
Don't have it yet.
Not on a rough draft or anything? Okay. All right. Can you guys talk about that, the session with the, you guys discussed the water ponds?
Well, our meeting with Chuck Means was an executive session about range.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
That's just, I was asking if you guys can talk about it, you know. I called, they were showing me when they were running it. I'm not against drilling, I'm just telling you, when they use that pond back there, the property's unlivable. I'm trying to build a house with her and just trying to see what we're gonna do, you know, that's it. Third thing, the paper I submitted about an ethical advisory board, did you guys take that under consideration, or what are we gonna do with that? Or need rented or need rented?
I don't know anything about that.
And if she thinks we don't need it, then.
It's not, I don't think anything, I haven't read it.
John, I read it, and essentially what you're asking us to do is to seek an advisory for practically every person in the township, every official in the township.
Everyone that has a possible conflict of interest with what we're currently voting on and discussing, yes.
Well, but I don't know. And you have another option.
Okay,
You can
I
file
know.
a complaint specifying the same kind of thing. And I'm perfectly happy to have anyone examine my background, my interests, and what have you, to make a judgment about the stands that I take and the ethics associated with it. But I don't have any basis for asking for an advisory for anyone.
If I could just add to that, and I haven't read this. I mean, I know what this is, the attachment I'm familiar with, but you have to be they don't give you general, you have to be very specific. So you have to set up your factual scenario in your request for the advisory, and they'll respond only within the limits of that factual scenario. So I don't know exactly
There's nothing in your letter
what you want
that's
advice
clear on
on.
what,
Like,
you
you
want.
can't just say, are all of these people ethical? I mean, you have to say specifically what you think occurred in a factual way, and then they'll look at it and decide if they want to give you an advisory opinion.
Yeah, I'm not saying that anything unethical will occur, I'm just saying the whole interest when they accused, when they used to try to get you to recuse yourself from voting.
Right.
Just a definite answer, if you can, if everyone who holds a position with any type of conflict or interest with the industry can or can't. Just a definitive answer. If you don't think it's
and I'm
The
not,
the critical issue is that the last item on their list of requirements is to list the material facts and circumstances surrounding the request. And that is associated not only with a complaint that you would file, it's also associated with one of us seeking an advisory from the commission. Okay? So either way, it requires that specificity of fact.
And the analysis is different for whether he can testify than whether he could take an action in this setting. So this deals with whether he could take an action, vote, and deliberate in this setting. So if there's an issue, I think you define the issue and you ask for an advisory opinion.
Will do. Oh, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have a couple questions. I'd like,
State your name.
Jane Worthington, 135 Main Street. I would like to know what John Trant's current position is with our township.
He's not doing anything right now.
So I'd like to know next what our current ordinances, where they stand right now, because they're,
I'm just gonna give a brief answer and then I'm gonna let Neva answer it how she wants. We got a legal opinion.
Lengthy.
A very lengthy legal opinion from Neva last
You
week.
wanna know how much each page costs?
No.
we can still advertise.
I'm fine with that.
We got a lengthy legal opinion from Neva last week on the oil and gas ordinance. I'll turn it over to you, you can.
So dancing around the issue that I'm not going to give your constituents my legal advice, I can say this. There is a series of circumstances, some were internal to the township, some are external to the industry and the case law that's developing within the industry. And I gave the advice to put a halt to that process, which is why you haven't seen or heard from John in some time, because it's taken me a while to pull the legal opinion together. I've stopped that process for now until this board considers the legal advice that I gave them and deals with some of those internal and external issues. So that's typical lawyer stepping and dancing, but they're my client, so I had to give them the specific advice on the direction of the process and how I thought it might need to change from what the planning commission ultimately recommended. And they'll take that advice, they won't take that advice, they'll do whatever they're gonna do.
So at this point, is the planning commission then excluded now from working on the ordinances? That's
The
no
planning,
longer
I think the
there?
planning commission's objective right now is to work on the comprehensive plan
Right.
and get the comprehensive plan done And I think one of the biggest recommendations is,
Right.
let's work on the comprehensive plan and get the comprehensive
understand
plan.
I know what the externals too, so.
Yeah.
Get the comprehensive plan done before we move
Right.
forward with.
Okay, then can I ask where the NOVs stand right now? Particularly to the Cowden/Carter impoundment?
They're still stuck in the
They're still stuck
Washington
in
County
court.
Court of Common Pleas.
And when's the last time anyone's checked on those?
Chuck.
Chuck Means
Chuck
checked
Means
on
checked
him
on him
after we
met
met
with
with him in executive session on the 5th of.
Can we ask that the public be given some kind of update on that at the next meeting, please? Because we've heard like no updates, nothing on that, and there are some real concerns.
Jane, first, like, the hard truth is you're not entitled to an update on the litigation. You can call the court and see what the docket says, just like any citizen. But just as a matter of fact, this body wants it to move too.
Right.
And how many times you call a judge's chambers and say, get off your ass and make a decision is really kind of a tricky subject. So that's been done several times. And I don't recommend that you keep doing it.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Are we continuing? Because each
Chuck,
time
you
we
just
ask
said Chuck
about.
did it.
Okay, each time we ask about NOVs, it's we're unsure of where the NOVs stand. I mean, that is the answer.
We don't know where they
We don't-
stand.
that's-
We know
that's
they're
the
in the
honest
court,
truth.
and we asked
Yeah.
Chuck to follow up.
And Chuck calls the court and asks the clerk, and that's the end of it. That's the best you can do if you're, I wouldn't do, frankly, I
I
wouldn't do
mean,
it
you
again.
have to be careful how much you bug the court, because if
Right.
you, basically if you piss them off, that's gonna sit there and they won't do anything forever.
So that's, but I would say one more word on that comprehensive plan. That is one of the things that proactively is occurring, is that comprehensive plan, I think, is gonna move ahead and hopefully pave the way for dealing with some of the ordinance issues that I've identified with the completing the process that was in place.
And it makes sense to move ahead with the way she's recommending. It does make sense to do that. Because there's also some other litigation out there with gas and oil, and depending on where that goes may change the way the ordinance has to go. So to step back from the ordinance, concentrate on a comprehensive plan, makes a lot of sense.
I've been saying that we need to focus on that comprehensive plan for a long, long time. It was 2001 when that was ratified the first time.
Somebody else had, Rick?
No, just a couple of, hopefully pleasant things to wrap up on. I don't know if everybody heard it before, but there's supposed to be 180 kids at the Easter egg hunt. So if you're going, be prepared. I don't know where everybody's gonna park or whatever, but be prepared. The other thing is, if you traveled on 50 for the last 2 or 3 days and you saw surveys, I went up and asked them, it's KLH. They're doing the survey for the sewage. So everybody seemed to wonder what they were doing there. Just letting you know, I would ask Paul Batista to bring that in and tell everyone that good news, but he's not here, so I figured I'd let everyone know.
Thank you. Anything else?
I'll just say it's easier on this side of the table, by the way.
Joanne?
The comprehensive plan, I agree it's a priority, and I've been sitting in on some of the meetings. The last meeting I was at, which I think was the last planning commission meeting, there was a question about where all these gathering lines are going. It's like spaghetti. And my feeling, and I think the feeling of others too, including those on the planning commission, is that it's important to know for our planning purposes, because our land use might be different, if we know that there's spaghetti underneath the ground versus no spaghetti. So the question went from the township to Range Resources, can you please identify for us where these pipelines are? The answer that was reported by Larry Show Me was, that's confidential information, we're not telling you that. That was the advice that was given to Carolyn Yeagle. Until I spoke up and said, are we accepting that? I don't think that's acceptable, and I wanted to know what the township's position is on that.
First thing is, the gathering lines, in my opinion, are not range, they're Mark West.
That's correct. It was Ray G and Mark West both said that that was confidential information. They wouldn't, their attorneys wouldn't allow them to pass off.
I would say that there's probably, I could dig into that a little bit, but I guarantee you that it's gonna take 2 phone calls and the word Homeland Security is gonna come up. So that's, I think, the issue.
Yes.
So her solution back to us was that we need our ordinances to specify in the land use that if a pipeline is to be put in, that there be provisions for identifying where that pipeline is. Now, I personally think Homeland Security is an important thing, but we can't put that in front of how we're going to develop and grow our town. If we're just going to let them do whatever they want and throw lines down everywhere, this town's going to be undevelopable, and we're in a terrible spot.
The regulation of the pipeline is different than the regulation of the well pad. So it's a transmission, a commerce issue. So, I mean, if you give me direction, I can look at that a little bit more closely, but the pertinence.
DEP has to approve where these lines are going. The data's there.
Have you asked DEP if that data is public? Well, it's not my job either, but I would suggest to you that the Pennsylvania Right to Know Act applies to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and if I wanted to know where the lines were, and if that is not protected information, which it may be, the quickest and cheapest way to find that out is to do a request to DEP for that information, and you're going to find out very quickly why you're not getting it, and if Range and Mark West's position is proprietary or is it security based. And I'm telling you, I think it's security based, but I agree, you don't have to settle for that. But a quick and easy way to find that out, Joanne, is make a phone call.
Okay, and then I'm going to serve that back up under the plates of the Planning Commission. It's their project. They should be doing this. I don't think that ordinary citizens need to go do that work. I mean, I'd be happy to go do it.
Well, you could certainly ask the Planning Commission to do it, and EPD. I mean, when they're there.
I would think EPD would do that.
What's that?
I would think EPD would do that, and to search it further.
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't.
And reach out to Carolyn and have her contact DEP to see if she can. I'm not talking to Larry, but I mean, unless you guys disagree, reach out to DEP.
No, I think
good.
But the lines that she's currently showing on the comp plan are the lines that are available through the utilities. And if you put in a 1 call, that's the lines that are showing on their plans. The lines that, it was my understanding from Carolyn and Larry, because I had talked to them too, was the lines that they're not providing are the lines from the main line to the well pad. That's not being shown.
Yeah.
The smaller gathering lines. The other lines, even the main Mark West lines are shown on the plans for Mark West, or for the comp plan. The smaller gathering lines are the lines that are not.
There is, if you look at a Google Earth image, there's a big circle that you can see where they put this move of line recently.
Yeah, they're easy to find if you put them. If you pull up Google Earth and just go back through the years, you can. In fact, I suggested that to Carolyn. Pull up Google Earth. If you want to know where they're at, pull up Google Earth and just go back year by year by year, and you can run the whole line.
But that gives you a very quick view of how much there is here already.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Sure are.
There was a lot before they even started running the lines for the gas
That's the other thing
wells.
too. There's a lot of old gas lines in this township that people don't even realize are here.
Exactly.
That are actually
That are cropping out.
extremely large
Yes.
gas lines.
Yes.
Like that.
And the company has been complaining about not knowing where those are, as well as the old wells.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, anything else? Kelly?
Gary, don't they mark these lines with markers? We have a line going through our farm. At the property line, there's a marker. At the road, there's a marker. At the property line where it goes on.
Right through the middle of the hayfields too.
Yeah. Yeah, they do mark them. They are marked.
Through the hayfield.
That line they put in down there at Crystal Green's old place, it's marked both sides of the road.
Yeah.
Like that line shown on the comp plan.
Reed, did you have something?
No, sir.
Joanne?
I had sent some information to Brian from the pipeline and hazardous materials.
I think I forwarded it to you guys.
Yes, you
I
did.
know
Yeah.
that he's shared it with you
Yes, he
guys,
did.
among others. And I'd like to see that put on as an agenda item to have you three have a discussion about going after that money. It's $100,000 that's available per project for bringing in professional planners to look at building comprehensive crisis response plans. So it's free money.
I didn't bring that with me, so.
One other thing regarding that, I've spoken to Kevin Dry, who's the fire chief and the emergency management coordinator for the township. And I know one of his concerns is having an emergency management plan for the entire township, not just for individual businesses or well pads and so forth. And I know he works with the county on these. On the information that Joanne had sent over regarding the crisis management plans, there's a couple websites too that I sent to you guys that show the pipeline safety grant program deadline information, where the past grants went. Harlan, you're here. My suggestion to Joanne was actually go talk to Jeff Yates. Maybe it's something that the county, it's bigger than just a township
project,
issue.
not a township
Absolutely. We can
project.
set that up, that's no problem.
But this grant is for all levels of government. So you can have a town plan, you can have a county plan, etc. It doesn't have to be wait around for the big overarching plan. We have issues here. In the past 12 months, we've had 4 evacuations of our residents from within our town borders. That's scary. I mean, that's abnormal. That isn't the new normal. That should be an anomaly. But it's getting to be repeated, over and over again here.
That plan then would have to be coordinated, and actually that comes out of Chartiers, because where that's all happened is in Chartiers, not in our township.
But our people are being evacuated.
We do have to
Our
evacuate some out of Westland, that's correct. And that would be, maybe if it's not county, but I think it should start at the county and trickle down, or maybe Mount Pleasant, Kevin and Chartiers get together.
And I know Kevin, when I talked to Kevin about it, Kevin's actually, been working on putting together an emergency management plan for the entire township, because that's been a concern of his also.
Brian, could you get me a copy of that?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
So we can review it and have Jeff take a look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The county has emergency management plans, a plate, sort of a general plate that you put together and you customize it for each
Right.
locality. The gas and oil is just like anything else, you know what I'm saying? They need to be plans put in because this is being added. So even updating the plans they're doing in a lot of the areas. They had a good management plan, emergency management plan, but with the gas industry coming in, it needs change. So if you can get a copy of Jeff Yates for me, or give me a copy, whatever, I'll get it to him.
Okay.
And then that came along with Linda Farrell's information, who is the grant writer, so she can help on that.
Okay, thank you.
One more thing. So, second open discussion period went in tonight. Been a lot happen here. Without putting that in there, we never got this done tonight. It might not be finalized, but at least it's started.
That's why it's in there.
Okay.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed no?